graduate of biochemistry from the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Futa. He is a thinker, writer, conference speaker, and leadership coach. David is a co-founder of KIST and the founder of Friendship Leadership Institute, an organization which powers its conferences, seminars, and training programs such as the Masterful Speakers Masterclass, an international masterclass where David and other speakers are trainers from the UK, USA, Canada, South Africa, Cameroon, Ghana, and Nigeria train professionals and corporate executives from around the continent to become effective leaders through the mastery of precise and powerful communication skills. David is the winner of the prestigious IDWSA Contest 2016 and has won several leadership awards. David treasures the years 2018 and 2019. That is because between July 2018 and June 2019, he observed his national service in Abia State, where he was the General Parade Commander for Batch 18B, Stream 1, and also served as the official NYSC trainer for public speaking, creative writing, and entrepreneurship, and other related skills for new corps members. He also served Christ Church as the General Coordinator or President of the Deeper Life Corpers Fellowship, Abia State. David consults for businesses and corporate organizations. He is a favorite resource person for government establishments like the National Library of Nigeria and the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC. He is the serving public relations officer for over 200 facilitators of the NYSC Skill Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Program in Oyo State. So far, David has been able to speak to and train over 2,000 leaders and speakers. He enjoys spending time with his masterful speakers in the Masterful Speakers Network, training them, sharing them, providing honest and helpful answers to their burning questions, creating speaking platforms for them, promoting their personal brands, and celebrating their wins. David currently lives in Ibadan and travels to speak at conferences, to facilitate training seminars, and to lead coaching classes around the country. Please welcome David O. Lawal. Hello, Mr. David. How are you doing today?
Hello, the energetic EJ, and to all the masterful, wonderful, amazing speakers who are joining this summit from all over the world. Good evening, whatever you are. I'm so excited to be here, really.
Awesome. We are glad to have you here. The stage is yours. Please
just let me know when we're good so that.
Please dose us, feed us tonight. The stage is yours, sir.
Thank you. Well, I feel like President Obama in the 2004 Democratic National Convention, when he got on stage and he said, tonight is a particular honor for me because let's face it, my presence on this stage is pretty much unlike it. And that's the way I feel exactly about this evening. Today, I've been asked to be the first speaker at the Diction and Public Speaking Summit 2022. And my subject is Fundamentals of Public Speaking. As you've heard, my name is David Lawal. I like to introduce myself by saying that David is Hebrew, meaning the beloved, and O is Oluwatosin, meaning I'm from Nigeria and I'm Yoruba, and then Lawal is Arabic, meaning the first. But I'll often like to joke that if you're going to be a really effective speaker, then you have to be my namesake. You have to think about yourself as the beloved, because I believe that you are already loving on me this evening, and I'm already loving on you. So I think let us have that as the fundamental that we need to get under our belts if we're going to act effectively as speakers in the world. Now, I understand that we're in Nigeria, and as I go on, it's possible that the internet connection might break up. Don't go anywhere. If it breaks up, I'm going to pause. And once it gets back on, I'm going to continue with the flow of what we are talking about this evening. So the topic ahead of me is fundamentals of public speaking. You cannot talk about oratory or rhetoric without talking about a man called Demosthenes. Demosthenes was this 4th century Athenian orator who, when he was young, had a speech impediment. He really dreamed to be only one thing in his entire life. He wanted to be an orator. But remember, as I told you earlier, he had a speech impediment. So Demosthenes was one who was so determined. He was so made up, like he made up his mind that he was going to become one of the greatest orators in Athens. So what he did was that he would go to the basement of his room, of his house, and he would practice. And then he would go to the seashore, and he would get into the sea, and he would get into a boat in the sea and put pebbles in his mouth and practice over the crashing waves. At a particular time when Demosthenes' fame as the greatest orator in Athens began to rise, he was asked the question, Demosthenes, what would you say is the greatest key to your mastery of oratory? And Demosthenes said 3 things actually. He said, number 1, delivery, number 2, delivery, and number 3, delivery. In our own present day language, that means practice, practice, practice. In other words, you cannot be an effective speaker by just listening to a speaker's coach like I am, or by listening to an amazing host, diction coach Ketura Oyibo, who works with us at the Global Masterful Speakers Network to help us train the next generation of masterful speakers all around the world. You can't just be an amazing speaker by watching the energetic EJ and getting inspired by her. That is a necessary ingredient, but that is not all. You have to have practice. But here is the interesting thing about this. I know a lot of people who have been practicing all their life, but up till this day, they are not yet effective speakers. Do you know anyone who has been a preacher in church for the past 40 years, or the past 30 years, or the past 20 years, or a person who had been a lecturer, who had been speaking every working day of his life for the past 20 years, but they are not yet very great speakers? Why? Because practice is not enough. You need to have what I call informed practice and then practiced information. So those are some of the things that I want to start off with you. I know that this subject of fundamental public speaking can be approached in several ways, but I'm going to approach it in a very dynamic way. One of the ways that we could approach it is to go through the A to Z of public speaking. And I'm going to do that for a start with you before I get into the substance of what I'm going to be doing this evening by sharing with you 5 essential fundamentals that I believe that if you can adopt, if you can begin to tune your mindset towards, you will be an amazing public speaker. But let me start with the A to Z of effective public speaking. If you're going to be an amazing public speaker, what are some of the things that you have to possess? I'll put them in the A to Z. First, you might say you want to be A, authentic, B, bold, C, charismatic, D, didactic, E, energetic, like the energetic EJ, F, fluent, G, growth-oriented, H, humorous, I, inspirational, J, juicy, K, keen, penetrating, keen and penetrating, L, leader-like. In other words, you want to be one who is educative. As I said, indeed, didactic. You want to be educative. You want to be leader-like. The word education comes from the Latin educare, meaning to lead out and to draw out. So as much as you want to be energetic and entertaining, you also want to be very keen and leader-like. You want to be M, masterful, N, nifty or notable, O, objective, P, persuasive, Q, quotable and quick-witted, R, raconteur. Okay, that sounds like a big word, but I hope you know the meaning of the word raconter. A raconter is someone who can take something seemingly mundane and make an amazing tale out of it. So you have to be raconteurous. That's my word. Raconteurous or resourceful. One of my friends from Canada, one of the coaches at the Global Masterful Speakers Network, likes to say that it's not about the resources you have, but about being resourceful. So you want to be R, resourceful, and raconteurous. Then you want to be S, stylistic. You want to be T, thought-provoking. You want to be U, unpredictable. You want to be V, value-rich. W, weighty in the substance that you deliver. And then X, you want to be xenial. Xenial, Xenial. And then Y, you want to be yielding. In other words, committed to your audience. And then Z, you want to possess a lot of zest, a lot of zeal, a lot of zealousness you get. So these are the fundamentals of public speaking, or the fundamental things that a public speaker must possess. Some people like it that way. Yeah, we're done with the A to Z. And now let's move to what I'm going to be sharing with you this evening on the fundamentals of public speaking. 5 things. The first thing I want to share with you today will be the fundamental purposes of public speaking. The fundamental purposes of public speaking. Number 2, the fundamental problems of public speaking. Number 3, the fundamental power of public speaking. Number 4, the fundamental principles of persuasive speech. Let's do it that way. Now I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna turn over the fundamental principles of persuasive speaking, and then number 5, fundamental process of persuasive speaking. Let me run over that list again. The fundamental problems of public speaking. The fundamental purposes of public speaking, number 1. Number 2, the fundamental problems in public speaking. Number 3, the fundamental power of public speaking. Number 4, the fundamental principles of persuasive speaking. And then number 5, the fundamental process of persuasive speaking. So let me start by sharing with you the fundamental purposes of public speaking. The fundamental purposes of public speaking. It said that there are 4 kinds of speakers. There are informational speakers, there are motivational speakers, there are inspirational speakers, and there are transformational speakers. But I could also add to that standard expression that you know in the world of public speaking. Informational speakers are speakers who really are like lecturers in your classroom, who all that they do is to just load you with information. They do not care whether you are motivated or inspired or
Right. We are having, like Mr. David says, if
a lot
there
of
is a
information.
glitch. Okay, fantastic. We kind of froze for a minute there. You are back. Welcome. Take it away.
Thank you. So I was talking about informational speakers, or those speakers who all that they care about is to load you with a lot of information, and they're not do is to just make sure that they cover the all they want to ensure to do is cover the scheme of work. But then there are motivational speakers. All they want to do is to get or not, but something interrupting my internet connection over here. But we press on. All right. Then there are inspirational speakers. So that the impact that they are making in your life. And then we have transformational speakers. Transformational speakers, I believe, are the people who transformational speaker. I am a transformational speaker. But I would like to add to that standard list informational speakers, motivational speakers, inspirational speakers, and transformational speakers. I would like to add to that recreational speakers, like the comedians, right? They're recreational speakers. So these are the purposes, the fundamental purposes of public speaking. It's either you do it for recreation, or for information, or for motivation, or for inspiration, or for transformation. But I believe that even those who are transformational speakers, whom we believe are going to be produced out of this summit, there are people who combine all of the purposes of public speaking, recreation, and information, and motivation and inspiration, then leading up ultimately to transformation. So that those are the fundamental purposes of public speaking. Now I'm going to go to the fundamental problems of public speaking. There is the idea of disconnection between the audience and the speaker. Between the audience and the speaker, there is a disconnection. That's why the popular leadership coach the world over, John C. Maxwell, wrote a book titled Many People Speak, but Few Connect. Everybody communicates, but few people connect. So, as great speakers, then we need to understand that we must be able to deal effectively with the problem of disconnection in public speaking. In order for us to be able to speak in a way that leads to transformation in the hearts of the people who listen to us, we must then be very, very powerful in connecting with your audience. And that's something I love so much about the host of this amazing summit and our moderator, the energetic EJ. She was such an amazing connector. I can remember at the beginning of this summit when you were sending in your comments just to connect with this live stream. She was connecting with all of you and asking you where you are coming from, where you are joining us from. And as soon as she discovered that someone was joining us from Wari, she tuned into the frequency of the Wafi people. She was such an amazing connector. So there was this disconnection that happens between the speaker and the audience, and we must be able to transcend that. Sometimes it's about the way that the speaker speaks, and that's why diction is very wonderful. Diction is very needed. Diction is very required. Diction helps you to speak in an acceptable way. Like I tell my global masterful speakers in the International Masterful Speakers Masterclass, I tell them, particularly when we have to learn about the fundamentals of speaking, particularly how to master spoken English. Many of them have that objection in their mind. Well, I don't want to sound like a Canadian or an American or a Brazilian or a South American or a South African. I don't want to sound like an American or a British person. And I'm like, it's not about sounding Australian or Canadian or British or American or South African. It's not about sounding like those people. It's about sounding like your genuine self, but your refined self. It's about sounding excellently. In fact, there is an article at inc.com by Sims Word. I'm going to just quote for you. The article is about 14 tips for great speakers. And the 11th tip goes this way. Great speakers have an expressive voice. The voice of a great speaker sparkles with changes of pitch, volume, and speed. A great speaker's voice is animatedly alpine. It goes up and down. It paws and roars. Since it's the only instrument in the orchestra, the voice of a great speaker is never monotonous. Its pitch, volume, and rhythm are always changing. So in order for you to be able to connect with your audience and take them through an amazing ride when you speak to them, you must have the capacity to speak in a way that is internationally acceptable. The elocution and the enunciation, when you do make your pronouncements, must be such that matches international standards. And that's the importance of diction, and that's why it's very important that one of the things that you want to do from this summit is to make up your mind that you want to speak in a way that is not just locally accepted, but that is globally accepted. And that's why diction is very, very important. So how do you overcome the fundamental challenge of disconnection? One fundamental principle I would like to give to you today is that you should develop a serious interest in speaking right. Then the second fundamental problem that I will share with you in public speaking is the problem of misinformation. And that's why speakers must be great readers. Speakers must read and talk to people. Speakers must be super excited about meeting people, about connecting with people, about listening to a lot of people, listening to people more more knowledgeable than they are, more influential than they are. Speakers must also be very interested in listening to people who are their colleagues. Speakers must be very interested also in listening to people who are not as knowledgeable as they are. When you listen to people who are more knowledgeable than you are, you know something that a lot of people do not know. When you listen to people who are as knowledgeable as you are, people who are your colleagues, what that does for you is that it makes you aware about the current
Okay, Mr. David is still having some network issues right now. Let us give that a little bit of time, but while we wait for him to get back, guys, let me feel your pulse. I see you dropping the nuggets in the comment section. That is so amazing. Keep it up. It shows me that you are listening and you are here. So keep the comments coming. Thank you, Mr. David. Please take it away.
If I love the way that the energetic EJ is jumping in, saving the energy so that we never get disconnected from this flow of energy. So misinformation must be conquered if we must be effective speakers. So the fundamental problems in public speaking will be disconnection and misinformation. And I feel that we are having a technological disconnection even in this virtual speaking platform today. The fundamental challenges in public speaking, disconnection and misinformation. But I would like to just move now to the fundamental power of public speaking. The fundamental power of public speaking. Speaking is revolutionary. I want you to think about any revolution that's ever happened in history without any speech. It's not possible. You cannot make any mention of any revolution in history that has ever happened without a speech, a passionate speech delivered. You remember that in 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. delivered the famous I Have a Dream speech, which did a great job in dealing a mighty blow to segregation in America. And you remember that there was a prison speech that Nelson Mandela delivered against the apartheid government in South Africa, which was instrumental in the laying down of apartheid in South Africa. You remember that there was the Free India speech that Gandhi delivered in India that led to the freedom of the Indians, that led to the ultimate democracy of India, that led to the ultimate freedom of India from the colonial masters. The independence is the word I was searching for. So there is no revolution that has ever happened without a great speech, without a transformational speech. We can remember the speech that DJ Switch delivered about the Lekki Tollgate massacre. That was such a speech that awakened the conscience of the nation. So speeches are revolutionary. Even though Martin Luther King said that the pen is mightier than the sword, but we know Martin Luther King for his speeches, the great I Have a Dream speech. That was what laid credence to that very statement he made about the pen being mightier than the sword. See, if the pen is mightier than the sword, then we can say that the mic is mightier than the missile. If the pen is mightier than the sword, then the mic is mightier than the missile. And that's why you can't just pen your ideas and lead to a massive explosion. You have to speak those ideas that have been penned if you must explode an entire colony, an entire camp of enemies that are holding your country or your people hostage. Speeches are ballistic missiles. They are global, intercontinental ballistic missiles that often lead to intergenerational transformations. So, I've told you about the fundamental purposes of public speaking. I've told you about the fundamental problems of public speaking. And now I'm telling you about the fundamental power of public speaking. But I want to say that where does that power source from? Where does that power surge from? the power, the fundamental power of public speaking, which is the revolution that it sparks, comes from what I call the three tenets of masterful public speaking. In order for you to be able to harness the power of speaking, the revolutionary power of speaking, then you must be someone who is committed to these three tenets of masterful public speaking. You must be deeply thinking. You must be deeply thinking. Number two, you must be frankly speaking. You must tell the truth in a post-truth world. And number three, you must be audience lifting. I know a lot of people will say that they are frankly speaking, but they are frankly speaking in a way that is audience killing. But as a masterful speaker, as a transformational speaker, as a recreational, informational, motivational, inspirational, transformational speaker, all in a whole, that you must be deeply thinking, but at the same time, frankly speaking in a way that is audience lifting. You must be like Martin Luther King Jr., who when you speak would begin to inspire in people a mighty dream, a mighty aspiration, inflaming your heart with possibility. You must be able to share your dream, a flaming dream that will ignite their own hearts with a flaming dream as well. You must be able, even if you don't say the words, be able to sound in a way that says, I have a dream that one day my 4 children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day we are going to sing that song of the great device, free at last, thank God Almighty. We are free at last. You must have that ability to be audience lifting. It was Martin Luther King Jr., that great orator, who said that great leaders are great dealers in hope. And as great speakers, we must be great dealers in hope. And I'm beginning to round up right now. I would come to the fourth fundamental I would like to share with you today, the fundamental principles of persuasive speaking, the fundamental principles of persuasive speaking. Now, there is a particular thing called the trivium. Now, the trivium has 3 sides to it. Back in the days in Athens, when the orators would gather in a particular place and they would have a conversation, the orators were to appeal and make their points heard by 3 things. There was the principle of the logos. That was the logic that was necessary in their presentation to make their speech persuasive. There was logic. Logic was needed. The logos. Then there was the ethos. There was the ethic. There was the natural beauty about the person who was to be speaking, to lay, so that the message that that person was going to be delivering would have credence and credibility. In order for people to listen to you, you must be an ethical person. No one speaking well, public speaking or rhetoric or oratory is a good man speaking well. So that's the ethos of public speaking. That's the ethos of rhetoric. So there is logos, there is ethos, and then finally there is pathos. There is that appeal to people's emotions. There is that appeal to people, that pathos. So logos, ethos, and pathos. Those are the fundamental principles in speaking. The fundamental principles in speaking would be never tell people what without telling them why. And if I just stop by not telling you why, you will ask why. So that's the reason you should always tell people why. And listen very carefully. When you speak, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And then because I know that my time is up, I'm just going to run through the final thing I'm sharing with you today. The fundamental process of persuasive speaking. I have 7 fundamental steps in this process of persuasive speaking. And I'm not going to explain them. I'm just going to give them to you right away. And I believe that Val Okafor is coming after me, and some other amazing speakers are coming after me. We're going to be doing great judgment to this subject of diction and public speaking, so that you can gain relevance with public speaking. So what are the fundamental steps in the process of persuasive speaking? Number 1, start with why. As Simon Sinek said, starting with why is very important. You've got to know your why. If you've got to connect with your audience, you've got to let them know why your subject matter is something that they should care about. So start with why. Number two, set up a problem. Set up a problem. Let the people know that you understand their problem. That way, they're going to listen to you because they believe that if you know their problem, you'll be able to solve it for them. Number three, promise a solution. Number four, celebrate the potency of the solution. Number five, lay out the solution in practical steps. And number six, give a call to action. And number seven, conclude remarkably. And while you do all of these things, be illustrative. You see, speakers on this stage today, speakers who are joining us in this summit today, I am thrilled to be the first speaker at this summit, because for me, this summit is not about just being a speaker at the summit. For me, that's not the most exciting thing about the summit. It's the very fact that I have some amazing speakers who are going to be speaking after me, and I'll be able to learn tremendously from them. I hope you've been able to learn something from this great session that we've just had together. I want to challenge you, as the great speaker once said. The great speaker once said, he said that knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power, but action is power. So all that you've learned so far and all that you will learn would not transform into power until you take action. And I want to now leave you with a lot of knowledge that you've gained from here, and then with greater capacity to gain more knowledge from this summit. But I want to challenge you that after the summit, make sure you take action. Thank you so much. It's been a particular honor, a great privilege to have had this time with you. And I hope that we'll connect after this.
What a wow. What a wow session. Like, you came prepared, Mr. David. Like, you came prepared to open the floor. I feel like the room is on fire now, guys. What do you feel? Do you think so? Do you think so? So quickly in the comments, what jumped at you the most from Mr. David's session? Just one thing. He has said a lot, like even from A to Z. Did you capture that? So this is the reason you need to come back and watch the replay to sit down and take note, because he was just going on fire and on speed. So some of you were unable to catch the fire, and that's okay. That's why you are in this community. That's why you are here. That's why this summit was held here. So you can come back to this replay, watch it again, take note, and then coin out action points. What are you going to do differently? How are you going to start speaking so that you don't speak only locally, but you're speaking globally, so that you're speaking in a way that is accepted globally? And especially if you're going to be speaking using the English language, knowing that, okay, this is a language that is universal. And so if you're going to speak it, you might as well give it a shot and give it your best shot, so that you are able to communicate every time that you show up on any stage in any capacity, right? So what is something that you are taking away? Somebody says knowledge. Oh, I love that. Mary says, knowledge is not power until action is being put in place. That is such a power. Like, even if this is all you take away from here, it tells me that you are willing to come back, to remain in this group, to come back to this particular video, to watch it and say, okay, based on what Mr. David has shared, what am I going to do differently going forward? What action am I going to take? What thing am I going to stop doing? What thing am I going to start doing? And what thing am I going to do more of or less of, based on the knowledge and the nuggets that has been dropped upon the stage today? Thank you one more time, Mr. David. Our time is fast spent. I would have said we should grab some questions, but I think you have bombarded us already. We are full. We need to go back, regurgitate them, and then take out, what we want to run with from the session. So thank you so very much. Let me see again if there's any other person who is sharing. Or somebody is giving you an accolade right there, saying mind-blowing session, Coach Lawal. Your energy was one of big things I took from your session. Fantastic. But please take something more, because that energy, if you take the energy, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with this energy? What knowledge are you taking away from his session? Let us hear you out quickly. Somebody says is be an illustrative and a speaker. Be an illustrative speaker, I believe you wanted to say. Awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Mr. Lawal. Thank you for opening this up with such fire, such passion, such big and wonderful message. I see one comment coming in. It says, let me read that one fast. It says the fundamental power of public speaking being revolutionary, and the three tenets of masterful speaking. You must be deeply thinking, frankly speaking, and audience lifting. Whoa, this is a tweetable moment right here, guys. I need you to screenshot this right now wherever you are. Let me lift up my head so I can appear in the screenshot. Right? So screenshot this right now, post it on your stories on Instagram, right? Post it on your stories on Instagram if you're on Instagram, and please tag K Tura. I think that's K Speech on Instagram. And Mr. Lawal, what's your handle again? I think it's David O Lawal on Instagram, right?
On Instagram, Coach David Lawal.
Okay, so guys, I need you. I want to see it. I want to see it. Screenshot this right now. Type at Coach David Lawal, right? At Coach David Lawal on Instagram. Mine is at energetic EJ _ on Instagram. Tag us in your stories right now, and we are going to repost this. And I want to see your tags. I want to be able to repost at least 10 stories today from this session. Are we agreeing to do that? Right? Are we agreeing to do that? This is so powerful. This is such a powerful one. Thank you so much one more time, Mr. Lawal, for being here.
Energetic EJ, just one final thing before I leave. I want to give our audience 2 giveaways. Now, the first giveaway is, if you've never been to the Afrocentrist podcast, trust me, you've got to be there. That was the first giveaway. In preparation for the summit, that was my preparation. I went there and I saw the beautiful work that she does there. Even today, they were live at the Afrocentrist podcast. So go check it and you'll see the amazing work that the energetic EJ is doing there. And then today, if you're watching straight up, if you reach out to me on WhatsApp, I'm going to give you one of the courses that I recorded. The title is How to Prepare for Your Most Memorable Speaking Engagement. How to prepare for your most memorable speaking engagement. I'm going to give it to you for free because you're a part of this event today. So how do you reach me on WhatsApp? Very simple. +234 9046687282. I know that was too fast. +234 9046687282.
Please call out and let me type it in the comments so that somebody can capture that and just do it. Say again, +234
9046 4668. No. Let me start again. +234 9046687282.
7282. 82 or 84?
Exactly. 82.
82. Okay, fantastic. So guys, reach out to, I've just typed it in the comment section. Reach out to Coach Fantastic Helen. Thank you so much for retyping that. Thank you, Abel, for retyping that. So guys, reach out to Mr. Lawal and get that gift. Thank you so much, Mr. Lawal, for mentioning the Afrocentrist podcast. Thank you. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, guys. What do we say to Mr. David? Thank you, Mr. David, for coming today. Thank you. We want to see you again. All right. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic evening. God bless you, sir.
Thank you. See you again.